achieved.
Well, welcome in to Studio Day Heffrey. We're in Studio Day Heffrey, and we're gonna talk about the Cowboys. And I'm smiling when I say it that we're gonna talk about some sports. Welcome everybody to Studio Day Heffrey Day Quarantine. It is nice to see you. And today we have a number of topics for you. And I'm going to start with one that is obviously very close to my heart, which would be that Skip Bayless is a trash human being. Normally, I don't like to talk about people whose goal in life is to get attention. I feel like giving them attention is counterproductive, but we have a chance for a learning experience here, ladies and gentlemen. So Dak Prescott, who has been through serious trauma in his life, including losing a family member to suicide, which I cannot imagine losing a sibling like that and what it would do to a person. But Dak Prescott, the quarterback of America's team, in his interview with Graham, what's his name? Graham? I'm sorry. I want to give him credit. You guys know the interview. It's on YouTube and you can watch it. But he acknowledged that he's had to deal with depression and anxiety, especially when it came to dealing with the loss of a family member. And this was Skip Bayless's reaction to that. Quote, he's the quarterback of America's team. The sport that he plays is dog eat dog. It is no compassion, no quarter given on the football field. If you reveal publicly any little weakness, it can affect your team's ability to believe in you in the tightest spot. That's the part of the sentence that makes you a trash human being. It can affect your team's ability to believe in you in the toughest spot. The biggest challenge when it comes to mental illness in our country and probably in the world is stigma. The idea that if you acknowledge it or admit it or struggle with it, that you can't be counted on, or people can't believe in you, or you're not tough enough, or you're not a leader. Now, obviously, this cause is very close to my heart because I wake up and I deal with depression and or anxiety literally every day of my life. And I'll say this, and I think we're getting to a much better place now because shout out to people like DeMar DeRozan, who said, shout out to Dak. Real strength is shown through vulnerability. People like Skip are the reason why people suffer from depression at such a high rate. You're the definition of a punk. Depression is real life. Dez also tweeted about it, going after Skip. And I don't... Like, am I going after Skip? Yes. Because he's a bad person. But also part of me views it as if you can be a person like Skip is, he probably needs help more than most people. Like, he probably is that person who thinks, I can't show that or the world will think less of me, which means he's also living a completely fake life and he's miserable. The best thing that I can do is be completely transparent and honest because that takes some of the power away from your depression or your anxiety or whatever mental health struggle that you have. You can take some of that away by just saying, here it is. Let it out. Let everybody know about it. And if you fire shots at me about having a mental health battle, that's cool because it doesn't hurt me. I told you. It's cool, dude. What I will do is I'll wonder what's wrong in your life that's what you would want to do, is to try to belittle someone for real life and being a real person and willing to be vulnerable and open and honest and transparent. The idea that you can't lead or that people will think less of you as a leader if you acknowledge that you have struggles reflects on the people who wouldn't believe in you, not on yourself. In America, over 46% of adults are going to deal with some sort of mental illness over the course of their life. 46%. The idea that 46% shouldn't talk about it and should just keep that shit inside. I'm sorry, I cursed. I'm going to have to click a button on YouTube that says I cursed in this video. But the idea that you should all just bury that. Do you know what burying something like that, whether it's a trauma in the past that you don't work through, or whether it is the way that you're feeling. Like for me, a lot of mornings I wake up and I legitimately think, like, what's the point? Like, not to a place where I'm in danger of doing something, but like that is, it's kind of like, okay, here we go. And I'm living in, so you're looking for this. I'm rambling now, but it's like you're looking for like the purpose, or like what is the meaning of this, and like all these different things that when you can acknowledge it, you end up in a much better spot than when you pretend something like that isn't real. So shout out to Dak Prescott. And also, here's another reason. Dak's a flipping hero. Dak's a hero. Because I gave you the number, over 46, I think it's 46.4% of adults in America are going to deal with a mental illness at some point in their lives. And the numbers say that non-white people are going to also report it at a lower rate and be less likely to acknowledge and get help with mental health. And if athletes with their reach and their exposure can normalize that, yeah, this is real life. People deal with trauma. People deal with depression. People deal with bipolar and anxiety. And if you can normalize that and you reach one person, you're a monster in a good way. You're a beast. Dak Prescott's a hero, and Skip Bayless probably needs a lot of therapy that he won't get, because he is the guy that he's talking about. He is the guy that inside doesn't feel like people should believe in him because he has doubts about himself. There's no doubt. You learn a lot about people just by letting them talk. Just let them talk. Skip Bayless is terrified of being viewed as that guy. That's where this comes from. That dude needs help. And that's why part of me is like, oh, don't call him trash. Wish him the best and hope that mental illness never touches his life. But Skip Bayless needs therapy. That's what's happening. That dude needs help. So that was long-winded, but shout out to Dak Prescott, and shout out to anybody, not even people with a big reach. Shout out to anybody in the world that is open about the things that you struggle with. You're a hero. You're a hero, and you're part of a gigantic army of people that have struggles. And if you don't have them, congratulations. Be cool to people. I hope Skip gets fired. I really do. I hope something happens where he has to kind of re-examine where he is in life, and the fact that the career he's chosen is one that lacks any sort of integrity or any, like, I already hate those sort of shows because they're already fraudulent. Like, that's entertainment. It's stage debate where you just have a person pick each side, and it's awful. I prefer my sports media to be something that I can either learn from or that isn't portrayed as something it's not. That's portrayed as a sports expert offering you insight while debating, when really it's a trash human with a whole bunch of producers that feed him whatever to pick a side in a debate, and then sometimes the idiot comes out in him. And that's what happened when he was talking about Dak Prescott. Skip Bayless is a piece of human garbage. Okay, but Cowboys news today. Let's move on there. DeMarcus Lawrence. They restructured DeMarcus Lawrence's contract, and that is going to save the Cowboys another $12 million against the cap. So the Dallas Cowboys, as of today, from overthecap.com, are $29 million and change, about 29 and a quarter, under the cap right now. So they could sign all the free agents, but that's not the plan. The plan is, in this league, you can roll over salary cap space from year to year. So a year from now, they've announced that the salary cap floor, the lowest it can go, is $175 million, because they might lose revenue because of COVID. So for the first time in forever, the cap may not go up, and it may go down. If it goes down to what the floor is of $175 million, that's about what the Cowboys already have committed to players next year on their roster, almost 176. So basically, you would take what they have right now, and they have $29 million in cap space next year. And that's if it's at the floor,
which I bet it's not, because NFL owners are really good at making money. They'll figure out ways to make up stuff here or get the players' union to kind of spread out how they do the hit that they take from revenue this year. So the Cowboys are clearing that space to tag or sign Dak Prescott. If you're familiar with me, I hope that means they're going to sign him. But either way, no matter what, even if you couldn't reach a long-term deal, you have to make sure you've cleared enough to tag him at worst, because nobody is letting a quarterback in the prime of his career who's a top 10 quarterback in the league walk for free. You can't do that. That would be atrocious, because then somebody signs him and the best you're going to get is a third-round comp pick a year later, and nobody's doing that. So the Cowboys are getting ready. If Dak weren't on the team a year from now, it would be because they cleared the space to tag him and they decided they liked another route to go and thought they could build a better team, and they traded him for a first-round pick or two or whatever. But they're clearing money for Dak, and I'll guess it's for a long-term deal. I still don't know how that works, because the economics of it are going to be really tough on the Cowboys because they haven't gotten it done already. Because the asking price is just going to keep going up. Because from Dak's perspective, you've got to tag me for $37.7 million. No matter what, you got to do that. And once you've done that, if we don't work out a long-term deal, well, my next tag would be like $53 million. So my 2-year average there is 53 and 37, and they wouldn't use that tag. So you either over 2 years would have to go 53 and 37.7, which works out to 50 and 30 is 80, and then the 3 and the 7 gives 10, 90. So your agent goes, all right, $45 million a year. Or we're hitting unrestricted free agency after a year. So that's the tough part of the negotiation, is how do they settle on that number? Because if they just use math, Dak and his agent have to be tempted to say, you're going to let us hit unrestricted free agency, dude. So I don't know how it works out, but I think they want to, and I think they will. Which is a little bit backwards from my video 2 days ago, but they're clearing the space for it, and Dak's good. If you guys watched Chiefs Texans last night, I tweeted this, and I'm not saying he's Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is the best. He's incredible. Dak's not him. But I think people lose sight of what quarterback play around the NFL is and really focus in on whoever's the quarterback of your team. And if you didn't win the Super Bowl, he's not good. That's just kind of the way fans view things sometimes, I think. But I watched last night and I was counting. 7 times Pat Mahomes threw a ball that Dak would be killed for throwing. Like a dump off where you just threw it over a guy's head or at his feet, like easy passes, and you missed it. But I just don't think people realize that happens to the best quarterbacks. So when Dak doesn't lead a guy properly, you're like, oh, what an awful throw. And then Pat Mahomes throws a dirt ball, and you're like, GOAT! And he may be future GOAT. But just know that whatever standard you're holding your guy to, man, it's going to be tough to live up to. What you really want is a team that's good enough to win the Super Bowl. And Dak's a good enough quarterback to do that. So let's see if they can get that done. What else did I have today? Tank Lawrence, Skip. I'm watching my scroll to see what else I had. Was it just mailbag? Yeah, okay. Mailbag today, DeMarcus Mofat. Let me know if I'm saying that wrong. Hey, man, back again. Thanks for answering my question about Gallup and T-Will. Can you explain the difference between punt returner and kick returner? They seem interchangeable. Thanks in advance. Super different. Super different. Like, I don't know if CeeDee Lamb would be a good kick returner, but I know he'd be a really good punt returner. Because a punt returner, you're going to most of the time catch a ball if you're not fair catching it, and your first step is going to be some sort of instinctual, immediate lateral move to try to make a guy miss and make something happen, whereas on a kick return, you're going to catch the ball and look up, and there's going to be nobody within 30 yards of you, and it's time to get running with a full head of steam and try to figure out what less lateral move you're going to make to get the most that you can. And on a punt return, it's all just gotta go, shift, explode, shift, stop, go. And kick return is more, they're very different. I think Tony Pollard could be a punt returner too, but Tony Pollard strikes me as a kick returner. He could be a kick returner. And CeeDee Lamb is a punt returner. Let's see here. Jay Beasy. This would have been in response to something I did about Dak and mentioning Deshaun Watson. He said Deshaun Watson's a playmaker. Dak relies on everyone else to make plays for him. Watson has a high ceiling. Dak has a high floor and a low ceiling. Dak's completion percentage over expected and his expected points added per play puts him in. You can't pretend. You know what's happening to Dak? This is what's happening to Dak. Deshaun Watson was picked in the first round. Dak Prescott was picked in the fourth round. That's what the perception is. Deshaun Watson takes terrible sacks that Dak stopped taking, and Deshaun Watson can make some plays that Dak can't make. But the idea that his arm's not good enough or he's not accurate or he's not athletic, like all of this is based on where he was drafted. And I slotted him as a fourth rounder, but I can watch football and see the numbers and realize, oh crap, that dude got a lot better, and I was wrong. That's what's happening. Is everybody saw a fourth rounder? That's why Goff is paid, Wentz is paid, Watson's paid. It's because of where they were picked, and they don't get torn down. You tear Dak down because you're like, oh, he's a fourth rounder. So anytime he misses a throw, it's like, well, that's why he was a fourth rounder. Well, the first rounders miss more than he does. And I still might take Watson over Dak. But the idea that there is some major difference, like when Jerry was talking about the Watson deal and the Mahomes deal, he's like, well, those are the elite of the elite. We knew that was going to happen. I'm like, why are you pretending that your quarterback is clearly a tier below Deshaun Watson? That's crazy talk. Eddie Joe, do you think Tristan Hill is listed as the defensive tackle 3-technique starter just to boost his trade value? No, I think they don't have a 3-technique. He could have had a good camp, and he's looking good, and hopefully he's going to turn into a nice player for them. But this ain't about trade value. They ain't trying to trade a 3-technique because they're short on him. You need Neville Gallimore to come around and be able to give you something. Let's see how often Tyrone Crawford's going to line up at defensive tackle. I have a suspicion it'll be a decent amount. No, you need Tristan Hill right now. You need him without Gerald McCoy. King Leonidas III, release one, trade one, extend one. Xavier Woods, Jordan Lewis, Cheeto. Release, trade, extend. Okay, release Jordan Lewis. I'm a Jordan Lewis guy, too. I like him better than Cheeto. It's just you've had banged-upness. Well, who has more trade value, him or Cheeto? Because of those three names, my extend would be Xavier Woods. And then my release and trade is between Jordan and Cheeto. So I'd go whichever one you tell me has more trade value is who I trade, and I release the other one. Why would I release them? Why are you trying to make me release people? Yeah, I'd release Lewis and trade Cheeto and extend Xavier Woods, I guess. I don't feel good about any of that. Jordan Harper, can we jump into the D? How will playing 3-4 and 4-3 and, of course, nickel and dime play into signing Earl? We will play with more DBs than linebackers. Yeah, that's why I'm cool with if you want to move Cheeto or somebody to safety, I'm totally down. Put 4 corners on the field. When you're nickel, 4 corners and a safety. Call Cheeto a safety, but what I want you doing is out there covering tight ends, and I want to err on the side of coverage, not run defense. Now we got to be able to tackle, but I want to err on the side of coverage. And as far as Earl, I don't have a feel for if they'll do this. I know that Jerry's interested. I think that the rest of the organization is saying no, 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 no. I know that almost all of the league is saying no, 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 no. We don't want him. If you're playing interchangeable safeties, the thing with Earl now is what sort of tackler is he going to be? Is he just a single high free safety? Is he just that center fielder? And don't get me wrong, if you're a great center fielder, I got a spot for you. We can make that work. But they want him to be interchangeable, and he could do it. I'm not saying he couldn't do it. I just don't know. I don't know with Earl. There's a reason. Nobody's going to come out and say the reason. You're just going to hope that Earl gets everything figured out and life is good. But most teams are not interested for a reason. And for the Cowboys, it'll probably come down to how well or poorly do the safeties play. And if it's poor enough and you don't think you have enough on the roster, then you take the chance. But if you feel like you're okay there, keep an eye on safety play on Sunday night, and we'll see. Leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow. Shout out to the 20%ers, the 20 Twin Twins, who have the notifications turned on, youtube.com/Jeff Cavanaugh. Turn on those. That would be awesome. And I love you. Bye.